that purchase licenses using this BIM KIT training program. So these are the topics we're going to cover. Introduction to BIM. At the end of the training, you should be able to explain what BIM is, explain why it's important to the AEC industry, and explain key BIM concepts. You know, the idea in my conversation with Autodesk is that when these customers buy this software and you give them this one-day training program, you'll be able to expose other opportunities to provide training and to provide other software they might need. So it's basically this is basically a tool for you to upsell, to find other ways in which to provide value to your clients, value that translates into cash for you. So you explain what BIM is, you explain the different workflows. There's the architectural workflow, the MEP workflow, the structural workflow. Then obviously you know that this depends on which company you are going to talk to. So you're going to talk to the architect, you give them the architectural workflow. We're going to talk on to the MEP guys, you talk on the MEP workflow. If you're talking to structural, you talk on the workflow. If you're talking to multidisciplinary, then you need to touch on each of these ones. And then you have the BIM vision. Now, this BIM vision actually helps you to look at the company and help them go from where they are to where they want to be with regards to BIM. You understand, there are different companies in different situations. And when they have BIM, there's something they're trying to achieve with BIM. That's why they bought it. But a lot of them have not actualized it. It's just there in their head. They've not put it down for everybody to see that this is what we're trying to achieve. So once this is done, you now know that, okay, maybe they want to get more clients or they want to become more efficient. For instance, automatically, you know that if they are more efficient, if they're trying to be more efficient, it means that you have to examine the software they are using. Maybe they're still using AutoCAD in a way, or maybe the way they're using their Revit is not good enough, or collaboration. Now, when you explore this, you find opportunities to provide training. You find opportunities to maybe suggest another software package that will help them achieve their goals. Because you've now shown them how buying this software will help them achieve their goals, it is highly more likely that you will get a sale. I hope you are with me.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to provide us with materials that we can use in this presentation, because I understand that we're not all fully skilled in all these different workflows. Even I myself, I mean, the only one I can say I know 100% is architecture. MEP, I know a bit of it. Structural, very tiny. But what Autodesk has done is to provide us with tools that with a little bit of knowledge, we can still present and show them this workflow. But then what I would also now ask us to consider is that in cases where you need support, then you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Elijah or Nuruddin and Abdulmajid. But what Autodesk wants truly is that you guys should be able to carry this out by yourselves and create income streams from this BIM kit. So I know it might be initially, it might be difficult. It might not flow freely the first time you do it, but with consistency, you will be able to add more skill. And I would suggest that you try to make sure that it's not just one person. By the time we finish this training, please try and get maybe another person to get to, what's the word? Try and get another person, at least 2 people in your organization. So the skill is not just limited to one person. All right. So we'll start with BIM. Let's make this interactive. I know, Femi, I know you should have a rough idea of what BIM is. I see Lunadek has joined us. You're welcome. Femi, can you just briefly tell us what you think BIM is?
Hello, good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you? I'm fine. It's nice to be here, and I thank the moderator for the opportunity given us to be part of this training at the beginning. Yes, from my own perspective, I know BIM as a BIM information modeling. It's a technology that drives the collaboration between different stakeholders, vis-a-vis the designer, the contractor, the owner, even the people that maintain it. It's a tool that we use to be able to collaborate, while the technology behind it is Autodesk. So BIM assists as a tool for collaboration between different professionals. That's what I know about BIM. So I help the different professionals to work seamlessly within the same environment to achieve more. So you see, they can tell talk at the early stage of the design, you go to the construction stage. So it brings everybody together in a way whereby they're able to interact, communicate seamlessly without missing the conceptual design and the end product.
Okay, that's a beautiful. I said you know it now.
End product at the end of they finish their workflow. So it's something that it helps different stakeholders to collaborate together. Beautiful. That's what I see about BIM.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay.
And also, it's also helpful to
okay. Okay.
That's
That's
I know about
definition. Thank you very much for that definition. Right. So I'm going to take you through these few slides, and then I'm going to ask once I pass through a stage, I'm going to ask each of us to tell us in their own words. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because the main essence of having this training is to ensure that you can present, and I have to give a report that, okay, yes, we've tested, they're able to do it. So I'll just get right into it. Okay, so BIM, the very simple definition for BIM is that it is an intelligent model-based process. It is a model-based process that helps you to more efficiently. That is, you're not telling them that they are not efficient right now, because in the past when I've spoken to architects and I kind of hinted that they were not efficient, they got very angry. People are very sensitive about this thing. So it helps them to more efficiently. Now, these are the main focus areas. Help them to plan, design, construct, and manage buildings and infrastructure. So these are the things that people in the construction, the AEC industry typically do day in, day out. If you're an architect, structural, MEP engineer, even the surveyor, from the beginning to the end of the cycle, all they're doing is defined by these 4 things: they plan, they design, they construct, and they manage buildings and infrastructure. So all BIM helps the companies to do is to increase the efficiency at which they do these things. Now, it's beautiful to tell your customer that, okay, you will increase efficiency, but you need to support it with data. Data from a verifiable source. Now, this is why we've included this World Economic Forum report. This one at the bottom here that says Shaping the Future of Construction, and it's dated 2017. And what it says is that a minimal increase in upfront costs of about 2% to support optimized design will lead on average to life cycle savings of 20% on total cost. What it's basically saying is this: you have a project, for instance, and say that project is going to cost you 1 million naira. I'm saying that 2% of that 1 million, if you put it towards making sure that the design process is optimized, that is BIM, right? You'll be able to save on average 20% on the total cost of the project. So you add 2% of 1 million and you save like 200K. That is what the World Economic Forum has reported. Now, I think any company should look at this with interest, because a lot of people are looking to handling projects that are like 20 million, 40 million, 100 million. So 20% is a lot of money to them. And these stories that I usually have from them about, oh, it is too expensive. When you look at it in this light, it is not expensive for anyone, because you're actually spending money to make money now, right? You're focusing their minds on the benefits and also proof of that this benefit has been properly researched and verified. Okay. Any questions at this stage? Do we have any questions?
No, let's continue.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so who do I want to ask this? Okay, Mr. Albert, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Can you just briefly explain this, what I just said now, in like a very few words?
Okay. BIM helps. So BIM itself is building information modeling, and it helps the architect, the surveyors, all of them in planning, designing, building, and managing a project. It helps to increase efficiency in a project, of optimization of optimization in project, that is saving costs. So I think that's the summary of it.
Yes, please don't limit it to saving costs. Just optimize means a lot to different people. So when you say cost, it is cost, but to a lot of people, it is not cost that matters to a lot of people. For instance, the architects in that office, they're not concerned about cost, though. The people that are working every day, what bothers them is, look, will it make my life easier? Will it reduce the stress I go through? You understand? The people that are concerned about cost, they are the MDs and that's the top line. So if you go and say cost, then you are kind of limiting how they can think it. You just leave it at increasing efficiency, and each person will understand how it relates to them, because everybody's looking at the project from a different perspective. Okay. All right. So yes, thank you very much. But that was very good. It shows that you are paying attention. Please, person from Lunar Deck, can you introduce yourself, please? Yes. Hello, Lunar Deck. Lunar Deck, we're waiting for you. Just speak. You've been unmuted, so just speak. Wow, it appears the person from Lunar Deck is not at his desk. Okay. So we'll move ahead. But I need you to keep an eye on this portion here, the increase in costs, because you more often than not, you might get some costs pushbacks. Okay. So all Autodesk BIM solutions cover the 4 areas that I've mentioned, that the AEC industry, that describes the AEC industry. And all Autodesk BIM solutions are accurate, actionable, and accessible. meaning that it helps to make all of this design they're working on more accurate, actionable, accessible. So the next portion is why building information modeling. Now, I want you to keep in mind that a lot of people buy the AEC collection and they take just Revit, for instance, and start working with it, and AutoCAD, but they are not really working using the BIM approach. Now, yes, you sold that license, or maybe you sell Revit or Revit LT or whatever it is. And that's what they are using. But until they move into the BIM cycle fully, they will not unleash the full potential that comes with the software. Of course, you can explain now. This is the second part of the training. Let me go back to that slide so that we can see. Yes. So we need to explain why BIM is important to the AEC industry. Now, you've explained to them the benefits they will get by keying into BIM. But then you need to tell them what the world is doing so that they know that we're not just coming to meet you and say, oh, this is what you need to start using. We need to let them know what is happening in the world, the trends that are happening, so that they can position themselves. They know that this is not a local, push from you to take their money. That it is part of a global drive to move to BIM. So you talk about the countries that have adopted, and then you talk about the policies that governments are put in place, meaning that we all know that Africa is usually backwards, but most of our technical people are now thinking from an international perspective. Even if they're not thinking, they want to be thinking in an international perspective. And you are basically telling them that, look, all over the world, in places where people are thinking, their governments they're making it compulsory. You understand? So for anyone that wants to become relevant, if it's an architectural organization that wants to get jobs from abroad, automatically they're already thinking that, wow, if I'm going to be working with anyone from outside this country, I need to be up to date with this. The reason this is important is that it helps them to find additional reasons to be serious about the move to BIM. And once there's a move to BIM, they're going to need solutions, which you will now be there to provide to them. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so we have an outline of the different, and I think there's a link to those ones. If you can also send them links, all these things, so they can read and see what the government is saying about BIM moving forward. Okay. All right, so let's check the other, 1 minute. Any questions so far? Hello? No question. Okay, no question. Please, you are free to stop me at any point if you need clarifications on any aspect of what I'm talking about. Okay.
We are presenting. Are we supposed to be talking or present like you are presenting now?
Okay, so during the BIM training that you are carrying out for them, yes, you will present like this. I'll send you some slides that you can use, that you'll be able to use to carry out this training. But you need to understand more than just what is on the screen. You need to understand things behind the scene. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so I've explained to you what BIM is, and I will strongly suggest to you that you take some time, go on the internet, type in BIM and read, type different things. I mean, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you'll be surprised at the information that you have at your fingertips. Find out what BIM is, you know, why it's important, BIM concepts, you know, all those things. All right. Okay, so I'm going to explain important, key BIM concepts now. Okay, I think I have a question. Yeah. Okay, Shino Fashakin. All right. Did you hear anything that we've been talking about? Shino? Okay, good, beautiful. All right. So we have the key concepts in BIM that we need to keep in mind. So I'm going to, that's what I'm going to talk about now. BIM can be better explained. This concept here is what is called the McLeamy curve. Can you guys see below here? McLeamy is an associate of the American Institute of Architects and the, I think, HOK. That's the actual firm in the US. Now, this graph, you need to explain it. It explains one of the key concepts in BIM. And this is the fact that the black line that you're looking at here is how people are working now. The green line is how people will be working when they move to BIM. The red line shows how over time, the level of cost you will incur as the project progresses. So on this horizontal line, where my mouse is outlining here, you will see it shows you preliminary design. These are the design stages. Prime design, schematic design, then you have construction documentation, you have detailed design, you have the project management, the construction, the procurement, the construction administration, and the operations. So it is, this red line is telling you that as you move from pre-design to operations, the cost of making changes to your design will keep increasing. And an example of this is, you are sketching the plan for a duplex here and decide to change it. At this stage, all you're going to lose is the time you spent on the work and maybe the paper or maybe the paper. When you get to this end, you have a duplex. When they finished it and you want to change it, maybe make it into, I don't know, you want to increase the number of floors, the cost that will be required to make this change is going to be way higher, a lot more higher than you will spend in this stage. So it makes sense that if you're telling people to move to this portion and start working, doing most of their efforts. Now, this graph shows us the amount of effort that is required. Okay, so if their effort now moves to the schematic design and design development stages, then it means that whatever decision they make here will not, the cost of making those changes will not rise more than this, because this is where most of the work is. This is where they've concentrated. By the time they move to this portion, the energy and effort they will be expending will now drop drastically, because they've already expended the effort here. And then this line shows the ability to impact cost, telling you that you have more ability to positively impact cost in the early stages than in the latter stages. Okay, so I will ask Shay, can you please explain this process to us? It is a key BIM concept that you need your customers to understand. Because look, you've given them the software, they've bought it, or they're in the process of buying it. They just know that people are saying that, okay, you should use BIM, right? But they need to have a mental picture of what is going to entail. I found out that even people that have been aware of BIM for a while, they seem to have a bit of, okay, they're having issues with microphone. Okay. Well, let me ask Femi then. Asking you to say this is actually part of the learning process. You understand? So it's actually to your disadvantage that you can't go through this, unfortunately. All right, Mr. Femi, please, can you just run through this for us? This particular one. It's a very important slide.
Thank you very much. It has the that we follow. If you look at the graph that we have, the critical stage is the red one, which is happen to be the cost of design changes. But the other one, which is the green, that light green, it shows the preferred design process. That means the ideal method.
Yes.
Based on the different stages of design. We have the pre-design, we have the schematic design, PD, then the last one is operation. Like also, for example, the example you make now, maybe somebody already finished his design. I want to make changes. The cost are going to make it to be very high. The cost to change design changes. Let's say you are looking at a bungalow, now want to go to duplex. And they already finished the design, they already finished the whole building. So when they want to go back, say they want to do design, the cost they will impact will be high. So what we are trying to say is that we should minimize cost. We should look at the green part and minimize the cost of what we call design processes. So that at the end of the day, it's easier for the client that want to use BIM to follow that preferred design stage so that they can minimize cost. Because the other side, which is y-axis, is the estimate. That's the amount. The x-axis is the process of design. That is why we have PD up to the operate. So we should make sure that we let them know that they should follow the preferred process. So they might have a lot of cost at the beginning by bringing a lot of people together. But at the end of the day, it's going to pay off. It's going to be any design changes from what you want to do at a better age.
Yes.
Then the last one is the dark green.
Yes.
Ability to impact cost at the end. At the beginning, cost might be high, but at the end of the day, it will also fall down to the preferred design processes.
No, let me correct two things. I mean, you did a fantastic job.
Okay.
Now,
thank you. I didn't concentrate much. I will do something else.
Well, the dark green that you're talking about is not saying that it will be more expensive at the beginning. What is saying that your ability, the potential that you have to positively impact your what's it called? To impact the cost of the project, to make positive changes, positive decisions on the project comes in these early stages, and that as the project progresses along, your ability to impact it reduces. So look, for instance, say you have a design in this stage, and then you find out that, look, I can carry out an analysis here that tells me that if I change the orientation of my design, I can save 50% of my cooling costs, right? Now, I can make a lot of changes here that will possibly affect the design. When I get here, I've already constructed the building, right? If I go and make, they say that, oh, this orientation is bad, let's move it this particular way. You know that your ability to make those changes has seriously reduced. Are you going to break down the entire building just to reorient to save that cost? You know, so at this portion is where you have that ability. You can monitor costs closely. You can make sure that there are no errors. you are, or the errors are as little as possible. So if you now match this graph with the preferred design process, you see that you're concentrating your effort in the area where you have the most power. Do you understand? Okay, so it is not like this entire, let's assume the people you are talking to, right? You're not talking to them as, oh, when you move to BIM, then this is what will happen. You're talking to them that once you are on BIM, so you assume that they've spent the money already. So you're not telling them that it might be expensive in the beginning. Please, I want you to remove that portion of that statement. They might have, as for you to be moving to this point, you are efficiently on BIM. So you're telling them the end picture, not the process. Yeah, this is a snapshot of where they are, this black, where they should be. And this one shows why they should be moving to this green portion. This number one and this number two give you the reason why you should move to this portion. So this one is telling you that here, the cost of making design changes is not much, and your ability to impact the design positively is very high. These are the reasons why we want you to concentrate your efforts in this zone. I hope that makes sense, right? So once you've sold this, you see that you're building up layer by layer the reasons why they need to be BIM compliant. Okay. We also have this analysis that was carried out by Micro Hill Construction, which is titled "The Benefits of BIM for Owners," and it was carried out in 2014 as BIM value, business value of BIM for construction in global markets. Okay, so it says that out of the people that they spoke with, that they carried out the interview or analysis or markets, whatever, 72% of the respondents who are already on BIM said they were able to predict their costs to a greater level. 85% of those who were assessed said there was 85% improvement in their schedule, meaning how long it takes them to complete their project. Increased, 85% of them saw an improvement in it. 85% of them said there were fewer errors in their projects. 92% of those people said they were able to optimize their designs to improve it. And 98% said they got a better understanding of their design. So we're just giving them reasons why they need to move, why they need to move to BIM in a organization-wide manner. We also have benefits where they're able to win new work, deliver higher quality designs, work more efficiently, and expand delivery service to clients. That's not really it's not really very, I mean, you can skip this. You probably skip it from the slide I will send to you guys. Now, this is also very important, and I need you to pay attention closely. So they've bought the software. They said, okay, they've listened to you and they realized that yes, they need to move to BIM. But what should be their target? Is BIM just BIM? This slide explains BIM levels. It explains how they can locate themselves, where they are, and where they should be, and the processes by which they can go from where they are to where they should be. So if you look at this graph, it's telling us that for those that are using AutoCAD or all these CAD systems only, that the format, you're going to have your DWG format. There are standards, British standards to use, tools, or paper, pencil, and all that. That's BIM level 0. There are a lot of Nigerians in BIM level 0. for someone that is buying Revit, the AEC suite, there's a likelihood that you might meet people that are on BIM level 0 there. Try and make them not ashamed because a lot of people feel bad that they're not current. But that's still based on your assessment of the organization. BIM level 1 has a mixture of 2D and 3D. So these are the people that use CAD for the main drawings, and then when it's time for presentations, they go and they get a rendering. That's basically what they are using it for. And you find that the tools they use here is now files, now computer based. You're doing your design mostly on the computer in this stage here. Then you have BIM level 2, where this is the target that the UK government set for their professionals, for the AC professionals. And here you have point solutions, meaning people that are using just Revit or any of the other software tools. And it is characterized by silos. So you have architects where architects are the ones that really sit here. Because for MEP that is here, that is in this portion, then there are one leg in BIM level 3, one leg in BIM level 2, because they will need to be, the MEP and structural guys cannot work in isolation with at least the architect. So you have at least 2 of them. So one leg here, one leg here. But BIM level 3 is when everybody in the team is on BIM. So you're working on building lifecycle management. You have integrated web services, BIM Hub, which, as far as Autodesk is concerned, will now be the BIM 360 family, right? So this helps them to determine where they are. A quick recap: this characterized by the 1990s, BIM level 0, where you're just using CAD, you're just using drafting paper and drawing. BIM level 1, you're using AutoCAD and maybe 3D Studio Max for your renderings here. BIM level 2 is where, BIM level 2 is where you have professionals, consultants in their organization. They're using the full software. But when they need to interact with the other consultants, they need to now convert it back to BIM level 1. So at least one consultant is on BIM level 2 in the team, while at least one of the others is on BIM level 1. When this happens, the entire project will be run on a BIM level 2 level. BIM level 3, where everyone in the team is on BIM level 2, and you now also add collaboration, high levels of collaboration to the mix. Do you understand?
Maybe you just repeat the people involved in the levels again.
I should reduce the what? I should go over it again.
Just go over the peoples and in the levels again, please.
Oh, the levels. Okay. So
people involved in the levels.
Okay, so you see, for the BIM levels, there's categorization to determine how you can work with BIM. So BIM level 0 is those using AutoCAD only as their work process, AutoCAD and paper, actually.
Okay.
BIM level 1, yes, is those using 2D, that's AutoCAD, and 3D, maybe AutoCAD 3D just for rendering, or they send it to 3D Studio Max, but that's BIM level 1. The majority of the work is 2D, drawings, AutoCAD, lines, right? BIM level 2 means that the organization is using a BIM software like Revit, but in the team, you know that in the team, you have the architect, you have the MEP engineers, the structural engineer. Let's say that you have those 3. So on level 2, at least one person, most usually the architect, is on BIM level 2. They're using Revit, for instance. And then at least one other person is using BIM level 1. So As long as you have one person on BIM level 2 and one person on BIM level 1 in the team, then the entire setup is on BIM level 2. Does that make any sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then BIM level 3 is when everybody is BIM compliant. And collaboration is now the action word. You know, we are working together as a team. So that is that's the differentiation between the levels. So can you give us an overview of what I just explained?
BIM levels in an organization. Like the BIM level 0 has AutoCAD and paper. Then BIM level 1 has AutoCAD Lite, AutoCAD LT with AutoCAD. That means the 2D and 3D being used.
Okay.
BIM level 2, we have the organization using a BIM software like Rivet.
Yes.
And doing some BIM related stuff. BIM level 3.
No, please come back. That's not BIM level 2. Yes.
BIM level 2. I should come again.
No,
Okay,
for you missed out the collaboration part. I said I said that for the project that you're running on BIM level 2 on a collaboration level, at least one person is on BIM level 2 and at least one person is on BIM level 1.
Okay.
Yes. Then can you explain BIM level 3?
BIM level 3. Yeah. Everybody in the organization is compliant and fully using BIM. That means all the processes of BIM are also observed.
Yes, beautiful. So you can look at it as a show of a progress through maturity in BIM. Like let's say you're going to be mature. You're going to be mature at 18 years, and then you say BIM level 0 is age 0 to 5. Then BIM level 1 is like 5 to 10. Then BIM level 2 is 10 to 15. Then BIM level 3 is 15 to 18. Do you understand? So go through the process, but the end point is that collaboration and everybody on the team, and everybody appears on the team in what form or the other, starting from BIM level 2. So,
But question: yes. If you are looking at a particular organization,
yes.
First we need to find out the BIM level they are.
No, they will know for themselves. Once you explain this,
most people don't know what the BIM is. Seriously, they are still trying to embrace it. So what I'm trying to deduce is that from this, we can identify where they belong.
Yes.
Which is more like finding out their problem and their status. Then we know how to move forward ahead, because in the long run we are heading on to put them in the proper BIM level, like BIM level 3, whereby everyone will be compliant, right?
In a way, but not exactly. Don't forget that this is attached to the BIM KIT training, meaning that this customer took money out of their pocket to buy the AEC collection. Or yes, so it means the person at least has some idea, or in some way they feel that they should be moving to. So what this training is telling them is they are giving them more information with which to make better decisions that require them to upscale. So for instance, now during this presentation, let's assume you just bought it. They're not really sure what BIM is, but maybe they have money or they've been told that they need to move. So you've explained what BIM is. Now, their understanding of BIM is clearer. But when you get here, you don't need to tell them what level they are on. Because once you explain what this is, automatically they can place themselves. They will know where they are. Because they know the kind of software they are operating in the office. They know how they work with other consultants. You know, even without you asking, they will start telling you, we're on BIM level this, we're on BIM level that. Now, the target that the UK government has set, that they are, they are the ones in the forefront as far as BIM is concerned, in my opinion. They've set BIM level 2 for all professionals in the industry in their country, right? And that from 2020 upwards, then they will now start requesting that people should be on BIM level 3. Meaning that if you're doing any international project right now, as we speak, you have to be on BIM level 2. So this is the target you should push to get your clients, your customers to. This is the first port of call, that at least they, and when you're talking to them to get to BIM level 2, forget about their consultant. It is just them. Once they are able to use BIM authoring software from the beginning to the end of projects in-house, then automatically they are on BIM level 2. I hope that further explained this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Femi, what do you have to say on this, please, before we move ahead?
Yes, let's go ahead. I think I will see after the training. I'm sure you will share the slide with us so that
Yes.
we can study very well.
Yes.
But I can get all the things you have said so far. So I will research more.
Okay, beautiful.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, cool. So that's one of the BIM concepts. Okay. So there are other BIM concepts, you know, like the workflows, which is what we're going to look at next. So we have different workflows. Before I go on, let me ask, what's a workflow? Anyone?
Workflow. So it's more or less the tools they use to do their work now, where they fall into.
It is how they work. It is simply how they work, workflow, how they move. You see, for the architect, in fact, everything that we do, even in business, your workflow is how you carry out your tasks. Somebody comes to meet you and says it has a design. There's a process you have to go through as a consultant, as you know. Now, this is Autodesk architecture workflow, meaning that we've examined the entire process. So if you look at this diagram now, can anybody explain what they understand by this? Let me even see if we're on the same page. Someone should just explain to me what they understand by this image that is on the screen.
Well, concept, like when it's been conceptualization now, relates to the concept. When you are kind of formulating the whole idea, that's the concept. Like when you are putting it into action, into work, then detail the components of the design, fabrication, etc. I think you engineers can explain more. I'm only using the English explanation.
No, I think you did a very good job. Fantastic job. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, let me go back to the architecture, because we'll touch on the architecture solution, the MEP solution, and then for the structures, right? Now, I will not, I know you guys are very busy. I'm sure you are busier than I am, because my own business is strictly in technical, right? But you guys will be busy with business development, running the office. I understand you're very busy, right? But I think the most embarrassing things I've ever had happen to me is not knowing our own products. You know, sometimes it's not our fault. Autodesk is always changing things around, you know, but it is very embarrassing if you don't know something that you should know. So I'm saying this so that, look, if it's just 20 minutes, you can sit down and try and read up about each of these software. Autodesk has pages dedicated to each one of them, right? Now, this workflow that we're talking about is you're giving them an overview of how they can work. This is a way of working. Now, most architectural firms are not efficient. The ways in which they work is not regularized. Even the big architectural firms, I'm telling you this from experience, having gone in to speak with a lot of them. Right. Now, what I'm teaching you, I want to keep it in mind as well, does not take cognizance of maybe you have a relationship with the boss, that's why they're buying. No, this is strictly passing through an entire business process, right? How do you ensure that you make your customers understand how to use what they've bought? This is what this portion is about. You've told them what BIM is. That is, you've told them what they have bought. You've told them why they should be using what they have bought. You've told them the benefits of using what they have bought. You've told them the improvement they should expect from using what they have bought. Now, this session shows them how to use what they have bought. Now, it is not compulsory they use it that same way, but at least they know what all the different segments covers. Because when we go to meet them and we say, oh, AEC collection has 17 softwares, in their heads, first, they're busy designing. They're not going to, a lot of them are going to sit down and go and start researching. But if you can tell them this does this, then moves to this, then this and this, then you can say, okay, look, this is something we want to start using in our organization. Let's allocate somebody, or we need training on how to use it. This is where you, as a business, uncover opportunities. So they say, oh, we need, this is nice. Okay, how do we learn? How do we use this? Then, you can just tell them you send a quote, then you organize the training for them, and you make more money. Okay, and they are happy that finally, yes, they'll be able to use something that will be useful to them. Okay, so this is the architecture solution. What Autodesk has done here is to show you that this is included. All this red line shows the software that is included in the AEC collection for the Autodesk architecture workflow. It has been divided into, like Mr. Alba just said, the concept stage, the concept design stage, schematic design stage, detailed design stage, documentation stage. Now, these four stages it doesn't cover the entire scope of the design process, because we still have the construction stage, but then we could as well say that construction stage is meant for those in the construction industry. Okay, so in the concept stage, this software in the AEC collection is what the architect would use. They will use Formit Pro, they will use Dynamo Studio, and they will use Revit. Can you see this Revit here? This Revit. Now, if since what's it called? Since they're working in full BIM, right? Now, this section here, are you guys with me?
Yes.
Okay, this section here is for BIM level 1 mostly. Sorry, BIM level 2, this portion. But then, if you look outside this red box, you find out that there are other softwares. So, by the time you get to one leg BIM level 2, moving to BIM level 3, you now, in this concept stage, include BIM 360 team. Because this now means that, okay, we're in the concept stage, but everybody on the team is on this, the engineers, the architects, everybody. But of course, they're telling you that it's something you have to buy as extra. So imagine that you've explained to them here, where are we? You've explained to them what these different stages are. Okay, this is BIM level 2, this is BIM level 3. You now come here and you say, this AEC collection that you have bought would help you to move to BIM level 2. You can use it to move to BIM level 2. And if you purchase this extra Autodesk BIM 360 team, you know, it enhances your ability to work with other teams, you know, solidifies your BIM level 2/BIM level 3. So you can make more sales. They should definitely ask you, give us more information about BIM 360 team. You understand? So you can unlock another opportunity to make sales here. Okay. For architectural solution, schematic design. Now, do we understand these different stages? Conceptual design, schematic design, detailed design, documentation. Because if you don't understand what your clients are doing, there will be times when you might just say something that is not, you know. So, Mr. Lunadek, please just type in the box what you understand conceptual design to be. Mr. OAS, please. Can you type in the box what you understand schematic design to be? And Mr. Kote, can you type in the chat box what you understand detailed design to be? So we can all learn that way. I'll wait for you to type in there.
Okay, just tell me and I'll pick up. Because that's the help one. Come now, this one. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. I got it call, sorry.
I'm waiting for you guys to type.
No, sorry. I had a call, so I was actually.
Okay. I'm saying that for you, I want you to type in the chat box for the group chat what schematic design is, what you understand schematic design to be. Oh.
Okay, should we type or we should chat?
Just type it, please, type.
Schematic is the, okay.
Mr. Femi, you're talking on detailed design. Okay. Radek says conceptual design is the early phase of the design process. Yes, but what do they do in that process? Yes, it's early, yes, but what is done in that process?
I'm writing on.
Okay, wait. Mr. Albert, what is that? Are you saying, what are you describing?
What I'm trying to say, what you have conceptualized,
Yes.
you put it in, that's what you put in the schematics now. Yes, that's what you kind of sketch out. Or you know, it's just another stage after conceptualization, whereby more of what you have conceived is brought into reality. Maybe through the design, bringing out the design properly.
Okay.
Like that.
You all have the idea, but not exactly. So let me start from conceptual design. At least me, I'm an architect, so I know this one very well. Conceptual design is what takes place after you've taken your brief. It is where you develop the concept of the design you're working on. Say they say, I want a duplex, but then the person says, I'm an artist. I need a space where I can work in my house. You know, he has a brief of what he wants. The architect now comes up with his idea. He has this idea in his mind of how to interpret what the client wants. So this conceptual design stage, you don't do too much, okay, this is where the wall must be. This is where the window must be. No, you're working with just ideas. So this stage is the equivalent of when you're sketching with your, you know, if you have seen an architect sketch before, is when you're trying to bring your thoughts in your mind and put it back down on paper. So that's what happens in the conceptual stage, right? Schematic stage. Now, you have your broad concept. Now, you're not working on the schemes like, okay, what's the relationship between spaces? Should the living room flow directly to the kitchen, or should we just put a wall there? Or what should be the circulation? What's the interaction between circulation and private areas and public areas? We are working with schematic design here. And in this area, right, you're looking at also how your concept would interact with existing situations on site or on site. So schematic is still not as detailed as what we usually see outside. It's still just saying, okay, the concept has been approved. So let's work out some, how the spaces work together, right? That's schematic design. It just schemes. And one of the things you notice about the differences as you move along is that the level of detail that you need to place increases as you move from concept design to detailed to the to the documentation stage. Now, detailed design. Okay, so for example, in schematic design, you could just place in a window, or no, let me use. You could place in just one AC, for instance. You don't know what capacity to have. You just know, okay, I want AC here, I want this here. By the time you get to detailed design, you are specifying brand, you are specifying power consumption, you are putting in detail that this table will be this size, made of this wood, like this, like that. You are putting in specifics. When you place a window in detailed design, that is where it must be in the end design. When you're doing schematic, you can just place somewhere, okay, let's just have an idea, because you're still interacting. Now, detailed design requires you getting data to support the reason why you are making that decision, that this is where it must be. So when you're placing a window, for instance, under detailed design, you have a reason why that window must be in that exact place and not 5 feet to the left. Do we understand? Now, documentation is easy to understand. It's that, okay, we have done our detailed design. Now, we want to document it so that whoever is going to construct the building has access to all the information that is required. Do we understand the differences now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you understand how they work, it's easy for you to show them how they can use the AEC collection and other softwares. So like I said before, in this conceptual design, Formate Pro is used for sketching in 3D, the concepts. How do I want the buildings to be? What's the relationship with others? Dynamo Studio can work with, you can plug it into Formate to make your design concept easier. So you're not busy working with how do I model a wall, or you just put in your script, your visual script, and you can work with your concept. Schematic design, Recap Pro would help you capture on-site situations as is. So you're capturing, if it's a renovation, you're capturing that. I said it. You have to bring your concept design and locate it, and then see how the different parts work together. Autodesk AutoCAD works very well in this capacity because schematic designs are traditionally just line drawings in architecture. But then if you look further downwards outside the AEC collection, you find out that there's Autodesk collaboration for Revit, which means that yes, you want to work with other people in your team. You want to have true collaboration, then you should purchase a license of Autodesk collaboration for Revit. The benefits to using this, which I think I will try and include in the slide I'm sending to all of you. And then you have Autodesk BIM 360 team, which also gives you the ability to collaborate. It's a broader collaboration where you can keep your files, you can contact external teams, etc. Right. Schematic design. Then now detailed design. Sorry, I omitted Revit. Revit cuts across all these 3 stages. You can use Revit in all of these stages. You can use Revit for massing. Yeah, you can use Revit for your basic line positioning and interactions. Then, and then you, okay, in Revit, you can also bring in your recap drawings and AutoCAD drawings in there. When you get to detailed design, then you're looking at Autodesk Insight. That one gives you, you know, okay, what kind of window shading are you using outside your building? What kind of glass are you using? And why did you decide to use that kind of glass? Autodesk Insight would give you that understanding. You can also render to look at materials, how materials look, how the entire building will look. Autodesk rendering will do that, as well as Autodesk 3D Max and Revit Live. They help you to show in as exact a way as possible what you have decided to place. So in this stage, you're sitting down with your client. Collaboration for Revit is also very important here. Also, the Stingray right now, I'm not 100% sure. I'll need to find out and include it in what I'm sending to you. And then we have BIM 360 team, which also cuts across all the different stages, right? So here, like I said in my explanation, detailed design is simply to ensure that you can specify exactly what should go where and how. Documentation, this is now where Revit, in conjunction with Navisworks, manage, collaboration, BIM 360 team all come in. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
It makes sense. Okay, good. So
Yes.
yeah, so depending on the company you are talking to, you cannot say, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. And then you now, so I will also send you files that explain just for AEC, that explain just for MEP, that explain just for structure. So you can just take each one as you need it, okay? And it will also give a breakdown of each of the different softwares. I don't know if you have enough time, but we definitely would have to have probably a second meeting where we now touch on each of these software so you can talk on them if they ask you questions. Okay, so that's for architecture solution. So let's look at MEP solution. You can see that the flow is different. We have concept stage as against conceptual design stage in architectural solutions. We have design stage as against schematic design. You can see that for architects, they're always designing concept design, schematic design, detailed design. For MEP solutions, you have the concept stage, you have the design stage, then you have the detail stage, and then the fabricate and install stage. Concept stage is very straightforward. This is where they look at, you know, the architect is giving them a drawing. So that drawing, they now have to look at it and develop their own concept, building on what the architect has given them, right? So they develop the concept using the following software. The Autodesk Revit. I hope you understand that MEP stands for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So the mechanical engineers cover the people that work on ACs, that work on lifts, that work on, you know, all those mechanical things that you have in buildings, elevators, escalators, travelators, all those things. The electrical works on how you power the building, how you power appliances, electricity, lighting, all those things. And then the plumbing focuses on how you pipe in water, how you pipe out waste, drainage, etc. They all work together. Okay. So for the concept stage, the MEP engineers would use Autodesk Revit because when they are working BIM, what they're going to get from the architect would be a BIM file, a Revit file. So they use the Revit for that aspect. Recap 360 Pro to capture, if it's an existing building, they might go in and do their own capturing. Insight to give analysis. Oh, what do we need in what is required as far cooling, what's required as far heating, ventilation, heat loading, all those things to make their proper decision on how to go with design. AutoCAD is also useful in this stage. And then we have outside the AEC collection, these are opportunities for you to make extra sales here now. Anything outside this red is an opportunity. And Autodesk Dynamo Studio helps to automate some of these processes here so that they're not spending so much time in repetitive tasks. 360 team helps to connect them. In fact, I say that BIM 360 team is extremely important here, because if the MEP and the other team members are not well connected, you're going to have issues. So you can upsell BIM 360 team, and you can upsell collaboration for Revit to them after they bought the AEC collection. Then we move to the design stage for MEP guys. In this design stage, they'll be using Autodesk Revit to place their, let's say, fittings, sanitary fittings, pipings, diffusers, all those things. They'll use Revit to place all of that. Navisworks manage to check and make sure that, okay, are there conflicts, are there clashes? Am I working in such a way that I'm not interfering in a bad way with the structural design and other aspects? Then you have CFD, which is Femi, this is flow dynamics. I can't remember all the
yes, flow dynamics.
Yes.
Flow dynamics.
Yes. Okay. Can you tell us what this does? I know it has to do with the flow of fluids.
Of the cooling.
Yes. Air.
Of the cooling system.
Yes.
The flow rate.
Yes. You can use that to calculate. So this is a very important upsell then for the MEP engineers. So you can see how we can easily unlock opportunities for the clients to become better, what's it called? To become better designers. Do you understand? Yeah. Exactly. So what I will say now is you should probably go prepared with the costing for these different external items, because they will definitely want to ask one way or the other, right? Then we have Autodesk BIM 360 team. We have collaboration for Revit as well for the design stages. Now, when you get to the detail stage, right, you're going to they use Autodesk Revit to ensure that the details of the connections, of the angles, the bends, the slope, is this slope that thing is called? Yes, slope. Slope for their pipes to make sure that gravity assisted flows. Then outside this area, I need to get more detail about fabrication CAD MEP and SMA, but what I know it does is that fabrication MEP helps in the fabrication of ducts. For AC you need ducts, for you need to show how they come together, etc. That's what I understand at the moment. But Femi, do you know more about this?
Yes, like what you said now, fabrication. Sometimes most of those parts that are preloaded in the Revit, they may not be able to suit the design that we have, or the design the architect have done.
Yes.
Architect will do the design, engineer and structural make
Okay, so fabrication CAD MEP.
But they may not get those exact parts in the Revit. So what they do is that they will now design that and fabricate. They will use that so that it helps them to fabricate and stuff. That's what
Okay, so you're basically saying fabrication.
Are we there?
Yes, you're saying fabrication CAD MEP helps them to customize and specify what maybe what the architect has put there in a generic format. Hello, Femi? Anyway, yes, I'm going to include documentation about this in what I'm sending to you as well. But thank you for that, Femi. And obviously, fabrication EST MEP has to do with estimating whatever you have designed here. So this too is an important upsell. You also need to understand in what.
Can continue.
Yes.
I think a lot of people log out. I don't know.
Oh, really? No, everybody is still here. We still have the 5 participants here. Yes. Everybody is still here. Donadek, can you send him a chat message if you can hear me? OAS, can you do the same?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful.
Loud and clear here too. I can hear you too. Loud and clear, over and out.
It's over, don't over and out, I beg. Okay. So that's detail. Then for fabrication and install, we have Revit, Autodesk Revit, and then we have Autodesk Fabrication CAM Duct. That has to do with the ducting system, I believe. I will need to verify that as well. The BIM 360 Glue is more like Navisworks in the cloud. It helps for you to put together your different professions and then check for clashes. Then 360 field has to do with when you're on the field, how you how do you call it now? Draw attention to errors on the field using the cloud as well. And then point layout helps you in determining how you're going to position your MEP fittings on the field directly from the drawing, how you position your ducts, etc. For architects, I think they use this in their setting out. It's basically for setting out, point layout. Okay, so if is the MEP you're talking about now, you know that they have a lot, in fact, you have a lot more to sell to them outside the AEC collection than the other professionals. But don't forget that we are talking about 3 different fields in one. So if it looks like it's a lot, I don't expect that the electrical engineer will be interested in CFD. Do we understand? Or the fabrication card MEP or thereabout. A lot of times, this MEP consultants are, however, in the same organization. A lot of times, they come together in the same organization. But when it's not so, then you have to selectively talk to them about this other software packages outside the AEC collection. Okay, so we'll now look at the structural engineering solution workflow, Autodesk workflow for this. So you can see this is different as well. Excuse me. We have the modeling stage. Then we have the analyze and verify stage. We have the document and detail stage. And then we have the fabricate and install stage. Femi, if I say anything that is not 100% accurate, please call my attention to it. Nobody is an island. Okay?
Yes, we are here to learn, sir. No problem, sir.
Beautiful. Okay, good. So the modeling stage is the first stage where the structural engineer starts modeling the structural components. Usually the architect will have sent their drawings. Maybe they just put up a wall. If it's supposed to be load bearing and they put non-load bearing, it's now the structural engineer will go in and start modeling their own components, their own columns, beams. You know, that stage, Revit and collaboration for Revit very essential in these stages, right? Let me go to the next stage so I can show you the AC collaboration red line. Okay, now, sorry, the AEC collection red line here. All right, then you have recap as well for capturing in a case where you're working on a site that is already in existence. Now, if you guys have noticed, Dynamo is packaged with um, Dynamo is Dynamo is part of the AEC collection here. I don't understand um, why it's not in the MEP solutions. It might be an oversight. I'm not sure. Okay, it's here, but it's not here in the MEP solution. So it's probably an oversight because AEC is AEC, right? Anyway, for structures, let's go back to the structural solution. Yeah, so Dynamo is a very large part of making structural design, modeling the complicated structural designs, especially as we know that structure now contributes a lot to, in fact, some designs are basically, the essence of design is from the structural engineering component, like the nest, for instance. And to create such complicated models, Dynamo makes it very easy for the structural engineer. So you can see it's included in their modeling stage. Then you move to analyze and verify stage, which is where they, they analyze the structure and test it for performance. Like this building now, we've said that we expect 500 people to work in it. The furniture is going to weigh so much. So the building, and so we've put in reinforcement to make sure that we can carry this particular load. In analyze and verify, you now load the building to test and see how it will perform. So in some instances, what you've put in initially might fail, and then the software will tell you that no, this building will collapse if this happens and this happens. So you can now correct that and ensure that the building is robust. So what is done, the software packages used for this will be Autodesk Revit, Autodesk Steel Connections for Revit, which I think is now part of Revit 2019.1. Yes, they have structural analysis for Revit. You have Autodesk Robot Structural Analysis Professional, and you still have Dynamo as well. All right. Now, in a case where you have other professionals that are carrying out analysis for you, I don't know if this is something that happens in the structural industry, but at least you know that design partners, you still work in tandem with your architect and all the other people in the industry. But structural analysis helps you to analyze your structures. And then robots, I know it analyzes as well, but I don't know. Okay, sorry. The structural analysis for Revit is, it helps you to analyze within Revit. But then robot structure analysis is like a separate software, more detailed, more powerful to go in depth and carry out a more robust analysis. All right. Document and detail stage. You use collaboration for everything as well, but everything up here, you have to buy as extra. So these are opportunities for you to upsell. Now, when I say upsell, it means that those people that have already bought the AEC collection, you can now, maybe they bought it yesterday even, it doesn't matter. You can now go and meet them like, this will help the work that you're doing. Why don't you consider this? So you can even check your database as it is now. Check everybody that has AEC collection and look outside these boxes and send them material that explains. Let me look at this now. Let's say you have an MEP company and they bought AEC collection. You can go in and market Dynamo, Autodesk CFD, BIM 3C team, collaboration for Revit, fabrication card. You can still sell to them. So it's upselling. You understand? So for document and detail stage, using steel connections for Revit. This one covers how the steel members in your structure are connected. That is whether it's bolting, whether it's riveting, the plates, the base plates, all those things. Autodesk steel connections for Revit helps you to do that. And I know that Revit 2019.1 has included tools to ensure that this is within the to bring it in to Revit fully. Advanced Steel also helps you in your steel design for steel structures, steel bridges, steel, anything that is steel. Autodesk Advanced Steel will help you do that, and it is part of the AEC collection. AutoCAD is useful here, and Dynamo as well. Now, the fabricate and install looks beyond, looks at, yeah, we've done the design. How do we fabricate? How do we install? How do we get it into the building and functional? So you use Revit for this. BIM 360 team comes in here as well as Advanced Steel and Navisworks Manage and Dynamo. Okay, so those are the components that ensure that the workflow for architecture, for MEP, and for structural engineering, how they carry out their workflow. And as we know, AEC is AEC. So it means that, for instance, the architect that buys AEC is going to find out that he has Autodesk Robot Structural Analysis Professional in the tools that he has access to. He's going to find out that he has access to Advanced Steel, but they might not need it. So you are calling their attention to the subset of AEC collection that they need to carry out their tasks. Okay, all right. And then we are saying that for structural design, structural engineering for buildings, we also have collaboration for Revit and Autodesk BIM 360 team as external softwares that they need as well to make sure it works very well. Okay, so I know our time is really gone, but I'm now going to go to the BIM vision. How you help your customer articulate a company-wide BIM vision. Okay, so I'll need to move to a whiteboard here. Just give me a minute. I know I've not used that before. Hold on. Okay, whiteboard. Okay. Okay, good. So this is the format that I learned in Kenya from the Autodesk team. It was used with an architectural, well, two architectural firms actually, and it was a very interesting experience. For this stage, you need, it's called, use a technique called visual imaging tech. I can't remember the exact name, but you need like a whiteboard. Femi, if you speak with Ola, he has been in one of those before. So the essence is to help them see where BIM can get them to. Let me see. And what we usually do is draw something like this, right? Just to help them imagine, you need to have your customer's entire team in the room for this. You need even the architectural, you need the drafters, the accounting department, all these guys here, as many people as possible, right? Then let me see format. So let's assume we now have the sun here. You will sketch this, so I'm assuming you guys will have I think it's sun I'm supposed to draw anyway. All right, then you now have the path to this promised land, right? Don't worry, it looks like child's play, but I assure you it works. It works amazingly. Then you can now have your client here. Okay. So you're saying here is there BIM. I will get you the actual images I've used. So I might not be getting the exact wordings right, but when I send it to you, you have it exactly. You just need to understand the concept, what we're trying to achieve here. In this visioning thing. So you have this BIM, this is a company vision, BIM vision, right? This is where they are right now. Okay, so you now see now that looking this shows an idea. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is where you want to get to. This is where this is the promised land here. I think you're even supposed to do like a house or something. You have the promised land here. Like if as an organization you can achieve, this is what you want to achieve. This is what would bring you guys joy as an organization. That once we have something like this, we will have more money, everybody will be happy, blah, blah, blah. But what we're not saying is that now that you've seen what BIM can do, you've seen the efforts, the contribution that BIM can have towards ensuring that you have, that you meet your goals in the organization. That what, if you get here, what would you be able to do better? How can BIM help you get to this point? So what we usually do is you ask them to write on post-it notes, like yellow post-it notes, and then you ask them to go and stand. This is usually on the board, and then everybody writes down their BIM vision, and they put it on the board. So they're going to have something like people will come and write more efficiency. You're not supposed to interrupt them or interfere in the process, because you know sometimes they could be afraid of their boss, but the way you do it ensures that it's anonymous, even when the boss is in the room. So you can say more efficiency. Some people will say more jobs, right? More jobs. Some people will say international relevance. They will say different things, right? So once they've said this, they'll say it in different ways. So your job is now to categorize what they've said under different headings. Let's say you have 5 people. Some will say international relevance. Some will say submit projects on time. Some will say what's it called? Increase profitability. So what you will now do, right, is to now find the common heading. So I can come here and say, okay, look, this one that, let me select this. Okay, this one that you have done here, let's have this as a title and we call it efficiency, right? And under efficiency, let me see if I can underline this. Anyway, under efficiency, obviously, this guy should be under efficiency, submitting projects on time, right? Increasing profitability should be under efficiency, right? Let's say, or I don't know, it could be, we could decide to have increasing profitability as a different one, but usually you find common, each company is different. And what we try to do is just guide them, but they are the ones that usually categorize and put them one after the other. I will include some pictures from what we've done in the past that should guide you in carrying out this aspect of it. If you say, okay, you could even say efficiency, is it more jobs? I don't know, international relevance could be let me see. I can't even remember all the different categories because I'm not thinking as a company, but you find out that these things automatically assemble themselves under headings. So at the end of the day, what this means now is that you now have a list of things that are very important to this organization. So in some situation, so let's say you have efficiency, right? Efficiency. You have let me say more jobs in more. Let me put it this way: more what can we use here? Okay, yes, they could say better standards, better company-wide standards, for instance. Let's say company-wide standards is one of the things that company-wide standards. They could say better skills, better technical skills. They could say improved communication, right? Now, once you have this, what the client has basically told you is, look, sell me things under these headings. Help me solve these problems. That is why I bought your Revit software, your AEC collection. But this is why I bought your AEC collection. And if there's any way that you can show me to achieve this using this AEC collection I just bought, please show me. And if there's money, I will give you the money to do this. So for instance, you could say under efficiency that they need to learn how to use Revit better. For instance, you send them a training course. Although there's more to this anyway, but this is just at least. Once you have this, I would suggest that we'll probably have another session that shows you how to do this visioning thing. But at least you have this. You can start working with this immediately. Say company-wide standards. You can say, okay, let's organize a BIM. How you can set up your BIM standards. They will pay for this as well. You've given yourself an opportunity of increasing your income. Say better technical skills, of course, that's training as well. Improve communication. You can say, okay, so let's look at how we can train you in how to use BIM 360 and all the others. Do you understand what I'm trying to do with this?
Yes, I understand it. Understand.
Yes. So this is the last stage of what you are expected to do. So you'll have covered an introduction to BIM. You'll have explained what BIM is. You'll have explained to them why BIM is important to them in their industry, using the entire world and then case studies. You explain important BIM concepts, and then you now go and show them the workflow that applies to them. If it's an architectural company, you talk to them about the architectural workflow. If it's an MEP company, you explain to them the MEP workflow, the structural workflow. Then after that, you now have a BIM vision. You do this so that you have the headings of what is important to them. This is different for every company. I've been part of, I think, 4 or 5 of these discovery sessions, and no two was ever alike. No two companies were ever alike. So once you have this, you can now develop a report afterwards and say, okay, this is how we can solve your challenges. And then you say, okay, this is what this one will cost, this is what that one will cost, and you can make more money and sell more software to them. So any questions? We've come to the end of the BIM KIT training. And like I said, I will forward you relevant materials immediately after this training. Do you have any questions, please?
No question from my end. Benita. Okay.
Okay. Any questions from Costec?
For now, I don't have any question now. I think this last concept is very important. Or this last one, this graphical representation you do now,
Yes.
very important. We have to go through it. Send me the slide. I will go and read more about those other products that part of the AEC collection. They are not part of AEC collection that can be additional thing we can sell to the clients.
Yes.
So I'm going to read more about it. So you can share the slides. I'm sure the next meeting we will have.
Okay.
I may have questions then.
Okay, beautiful.
But for now, I think all is set.
Okay, so this is what you are expected to do. This is how you expect to train your customers. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate the time. Sorry for the mix-up we had with getting the Zoom meeting set up. Next time, we won't have that kind of occurrence. All right. Thank you very much, and just expect to get my email shortly.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey, about.